Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, race number 5 at Pimlico on Preakness Saturday is the $100,000 James W. Murphy Stakes. You can play the Murphy, you can play the Preakness with your very own DRF Bets account. Sign up at the Preakness with free cash. Get a $100 deposit match bonus when you head on over to drf.com/bet. Let's take a look at the field of 3-year-old turf horses. We hope weather's going to play a major part in this James W. Murphy Stakes because we've got several horses cross-entered for the Sir Barton on dirt. Horses like the number 1, Takedown, the number 7, 3 Over Deuces, the number 8, Whirlin' Curlin'. It's likely those horses only participate in the Murphy if the Murphy comes off the turf.
Yeah, we'll see if it stays. Hopefully it'll get to stay on. If it doesn't, obviously it's a totally different race. As far as this race goes as a turf race, I think it's, fairly interesting, if only because it seems like a well-matched group of horses on the grass.
Let's talk about Black Stetson, the number 4, who made a successful turf debut at a big price, albeit sprinting, in the Bridgetown Stakes last time out at Aqueduct. This gelding showed good speed, opened up at just the right time, but the wire came at the absolute perfect time for this horse.
Yeah, I felt like it was getting a little desperate for him at the end there, but he did manage to hold on in there. It was interesting too because there was a race where he didn't break that sharply from the gate, but he had the speed in that race. He got right up to the front there going 6 furlongs, and he did just manage to hold on at the end. I got to be honest, Dan, I wasn't thrilled with that race overall, but it was a nice performance for this horse because he has a little bit of turf pedigree. They made the switch for that race, and he handled it well. Now we'll see if he handles the 2-turn mile.
Let's throw up the Timeform US Pace Projector while reminding everybody that Timeform updates after scratches. So you're going to want to check out the Pace Projector Saturday afternoon after scratches. As of right now, Black Stetson expected to go out there and make the lead. California Knight, the 5, is cross-entered in the Sir Barton. Michael Maker hasn't made a decision yet, but if he runs here in his turf debut, he's going to show speed.
Yeah, he's got some speed, that horse. He also has some ability, too. It'll be interesting to see which race Maker decides to go for with him. I took a long look at this horse just because I do think he has some ability. I just wanted to see a little bit more turf pedigree with this horse, and I just really couldn't find it, and for that reason I couldn't really talk myself into him if this is the race he runs in.
The 7 3 Over Deuces, another horse cross-entered. He would be making his turf debut here. This is a horse that's in fine form right now. Distance isn't going to be a problem for him, and he does have enough tactical speed that if one of these 2 other speed scratches, he could find a spot if he runs.
If he runs there, you get a good trip. I didn't see any turf pedigree with him either, though.
Let's talk about the horse that I think they're all going to have to beat, and that's the 6 Say the Word, who's coming out of a maiden win at Keeneland, and it was really the first time they were able to stretch him all the way out. And he just destroyed that field. I love the way he put them away. Graham Motion has been talking this horse up big afterwards, saying races like the Canadian Triple Crown are in his future. And you just get the feeling that this is the right spot for a stakes debut.
That's exactly how I looked at it. It's just one of those situations where especially when you go back to his 2 most recent turf races since they gelded this horse, it just feels like those are the 2 best turf races in the entire field. He was really impressive last time. I do think that maybe getting that added distance underneath him was a real benefit to him, and it really moved him up. And now he's going to have to cut back 3/16 of a mile. I wonder if that affects him. But at the end of the day, I mean, if he is just going to keep going forward the way he has so far in his 2 starts as a 3-year-old, this is a great spot for him.
If this course turns out to be a bog, you might want to upgrade the number 3 Tap Daddy, who won his maiden over yielding ground, who won his 1X over yielding ground, and I'll forgive the Transylvania against Analyze It on yielding ground. This is a horse that has shown flashes here and there, has run okay on dirt, has run okay on turf, and he's going to get a lot of class relief in here, and there's another horse that can be forwardly placed.
Yeah, I think all those things are true. Maybe this, at the end of the day, it's just a better spot for this horse. I don't think he ran particularly well in either of his 2 starts on turf so far as a 3-year-old. He was okay on it last year. I just haven't seen the improvement from him, and that bothers me about him a little bit, but it is an easier spot for him. Maybe that will make all the difference. And he is a really square price on the morning line. And if you can get him at 12-1, I'm not going to really argue against it. I just don't like his last 2 races at all, and it sort of scared me away from him.
Turf debut for the 2 Magical Maestro, who pulled off an $80 shocker over the Polytrack in the Battaglia Memorial before getting a little bit headstrong in the Jeff Ruby Stakes and backing up at 1 1/8 miles. If you think the synthetic form successfully translates to turf, Magical Maestro I think has a puncher's chance, but I think he has to prove that Battaglia wasn't a fluke. Again, he was 39-1 for a reason.
Yes, that's the real question. You're right, because if he can run a race like that, it's going to give him a big look in this race. And I think think getting back to turf, or getting to turf for the first time anyway, getting off the main track, I think that can help this horse. You know, he is one, I know he's a Bodemeister. There's a lot of turf on the dam side of his pedigree, and that really intrigues me about him, because overall, I just don't think this field is that great. Outside of the favorite, who I think is probably a legit horse, I don't really care for anybody else in this field. This is a horse I'm going to be using at a price.
Takedown and Whirl and Curl and both cross-entered in the Sir Barton, both likely only to run here if this race is washed off of the turf. Takedown might be the more interesting if he decides to stay on the turf, simply because it will be his first race on the turf.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of turf pedigree too. If he decides to take a shot here, the Take Charge Indies just have not been good on the grass, but there's a lot of turf on the dam side of his pedigree anyway.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the James W. Murphy Stakes. Mike's going with the logical horse. That's the 6 Say the Word. Mike loathes my top selection, the number 9 Colton, Mississippi, and that's because I've been bugging Mike about Colton, Mississippi since before his debut, and some clockers were telling me he'd been working really good, and he won his debut, albeit in very slow time. And since that race, things haven't exactly panned out for Colton, Mississippi, who was actually entered for a tag and was scratched that day. But I thought his turf sprint last time out against Black Stetson was okay, where he was coming with a little bit of a late run. 6 furlongs is too sharp for him, and if you believe that Timeform US pace projector, he's either going to be sitting third off the 4 and the 5, or if the 5 scratches, he sits off Black Stetson. I think he gets Black Stetson at a mile.
Maybe he does. Maybe he gets that horse. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets that horse. I don't know if he's going to get anybody else. Where's his good race? Where's his race that I'm supposed to like? And not only that, first of all, this horse has a huge pedigree on the dam side for sprinting. Where's his good race going longer that's supposed to get me all excited about him stretching out in this race? I didn't like the Bridgetown as a race. I didn't think he ran that great in there. I have no use for this horse at 3-1 on the morning line in this race. He's all yours.
Put a ring around him. 6, 2, 4, and 3 for Mike. 9, 4, 6, and 5 for me in the $100,000 James W. Murphy Stakes, race 5 at Pimlico on Preakness Saturday. You can play it with a DRF Bets account. It's free money. Nothing better than that. Bet the Preakness with free cash, $100 deposit match bonus. DRF.com/bet. Approximate post time for the Murphy, 12:51 Eastern. Good luck.